year was 2099. Humanity no longer measured wealth with coins, credits, or gold. It measured it with memories. Every cherished moment, every painful lesson, every face someone loved could be traded, borrowed, stolen, or sold. A colossal holographic billboard illuminated the skyline. Memoria Central, your past, your future. Crowds continued walking beneath it as though nothing was unusual. Inside one of the busiest memory exchange centers, exhausted citizens stood in silent lines. A tired elderly woman sat before a glowing scanner. The employee barely looked up. Memory selected? She hesitated. My wedding. The scanner lit green. I'll only need the happiness, she whispered. Moments later, confusion replaced her smile. Outside, digital screens updated instantly. Memory Market Index plus 3.4%. Children laughed beneath the numbers without understanding why adults suddenly looked terrified. A businessman sighed. My daughter's first birthday just doubled in value. Far beneath the city, hidden beneath abandoned subway tunnels, illegal traders gathered around glowing black market terminals. A masked woman placed a memory crystal onto the table. I want names, a voice answered from the darkness. Names cost childhoods. High above the city, inside the headquarters of Memoria Central, executives watched billions of memories flowing through enormous holographic streams. One executive frowned. Our projections are wrong. Another replied quietly. Someone is returning memories. Silence consumed the room. Rain poured across Sector 9. Kale Eris walked through the crowded streets. He ignored every advertisement calling his name. A small girl tugged on her father's sleeve. Dad, why doesn't that man smile? Her father looked toward Kale before lowering his voice. People who've sold too much usually forget how. Kale kept walking. He heard every word. Kale entered a tiny apartment overlooking the endless city. No photographs, no decorations, only dozens of handwritten notes covered the walls. One note simply read, "Don't sell the last memory." Kale stared at it. I don't remember writing that. Elsewhere, inside a police investigation unit, detectives reviewed impossible cases. Victims had no injuries, no stolen property, only empty minds. A detective frowned. It's happening again. Detective Mira Solon enlarged another victim's neural scan. No memories. Her partner swallowed. Not even their own name. News broadcasts interrupted every screen across the city. Authorities deny rumors of illegal memory harvesting. Citizens immediately began arguing. They're lying. No, they're hiding something worse. Meanwhile, a hooded courier sprinted across rooftops carrying a glowing memory capsule. Behind him, 3 memory hunters closed the distance effortlessly. He has the package. Don't let him jump. The courier reached the edge. Too late. An energy cable wrapped around his leg. He crashed violently through a rooftop greenhouse. The glowing capsule rolled away. A black-gloved hand picked up the capsule before anyone else could. The hunters froze. Their leader whispered, "Impossible." The stranger simply disappeared into the rain. Far away, Kale suddenly stopped walking. An unbearable headache pierced his mind. For the briefest second, a little girl's laughter echoed inside his head. Then, nothing. He dropped to one knee beneath the pouring rain. Who was she? Rainwater dripped from Kale's fingertips as the stabbing pain finally faded. People walked around him without stopping. A street vendor shook his head. Poor guy, he's probably bankrupt. His customer whispered back, "No, look at his eyes. That's someone who's lost more than money."
Across the city, inside the highest floor of Memoria Central, the recovered memory capsule rested on a floating containment pedestal. Director Lucien Voss stared at it. It moved again. A scientist swallowed nervously. It chose another owner. One young researcher stepped backward. That's impossible. Memory cores aren't alive. Lucien never looked away. No, his voice remained unnervingly calm. They're waking up. Silence filled the laboratory. Meanwhile, Detective Mira Solon arrived beneath an abandoned overpass. Dozens of candles burned quietly. Families gathered around empty graves. They're burying people without memories now, her partner whispered. Mira answered softly, they're burying who those people used to be. Deep inside the underground black market, the masked woman removed her hood. Naira Vale looked toward the empty pedestal. They stole it. One smuggler trembled. No, they never stole it. It escaped. Cale unlocked his apartment door. Something felt wrong. The lights were already on. A calm voice echoed from inside. You really should lock your windows. Cale instantly reached beneath his coat. Who's there? A young woman slowly stood from his chair. Naira Vale smiled faintly. You still keep notes. Cale frowned. Have we met? Her smile disappeared. Asterisk. You really don't remember. Tell me your name. Naira. Why are you here? She glanced toward the wall covered in notes. You asked me to come. He stared blankly. I've never seen you before. Naira walked toward one handwritten page. She pointed to a line written in Cale's own handwriting. If I forget you, trust her anyway. Cale's breathing stopped. His own signature rested beneath it. Elsewhere, director Lucien Voss watched a city map illuminate. A single blue dot began moving. It finally activated. He looked toward his security chief. Send the hunters. Below the city, 4 elite memory hunters armed themselves in silence. Their commander finally spoke. Target designation. He looked directly at Cale's file. Ghost Zero. Every hunter exchanged uneasy glances. I thought Ghost Zero was dead. So did everyone else. Back in the apartment, Cale rubbed his temples. Why can't I remember any of this? Because you sold something no one else ever dared to sell. What? She met his eyes. Yourself. Before Cale could answer, every light inside the apartment suddenly went dark. Outside, red drones surrounded the building. A mechanical voice echoed through the rain. Ghost Zero. Surrender immediately. Naira closed the curtains instantly. They found you faster than I expected. Cale looked toward the window. I don't even know who I am. She loaded a compact energy pistol. They do. The apartment door exploded inward. Smoke filled the room. Helmet lights pierced through the dust. A deep voice ordered, Ghost Zero, welcome back. The first memory hunter charged through the smoke without hesitation. Naira Vale shoved Cale backward. Move! An energy blade sliced through the space where his head had been a heartbeat earlier. Cale crashed into the wall covered with handwritten notes. The impact sent dozens of pages fluttering through the room. One page landed at his feet. When instinct takes over, don't fight it. He stared at the words. I wrote this. Another hunter lunged toward Naira. She twisted beneath his strike and fired once. The energy round shattered his visor. He staggered backward. You were supposed to be dead, he gasped. The hunters suddenly stopped attacking. Their helmets flashed blue. A calm voice echoed through every communicator. Do not kill Ghost Zero. Director Lucien Voss continued, recover the memory at all costs. Cale frowned. What memory? Nobody answered. Instead, every hunter looked directly at him, almost as if they expected him to know. Outside, citizens gathered below the apartment building. Emergency drones forced everyone behind barriers. Phones streamed the event live. Who's inside? No idea. They deployed hunters. Whoever it is must be dangerous. Inside a moving police transport, Detective Mira Solon watched the live broadcast. Her partner looked confused. They sent hunters for one man? Mira's eyes narrowed. No. They sent an army because they're afraid of him. One hunter fired an extraction cable. It wrapped around Cale's wrist. The instant it touched his skin, the cable exploded into blue sparks. Every system malfunctioned. What happened? No biological rejection should be possible. Cale clutched his head. Another memory forced its way through. A laboratory, a little girl laughing, someone crying. A man's desperate voice echoed, erase mine instead. The vision shattered before he could see the face. Naira looked terrified. Cale? He slowly raised his head. His silver-gray eyes briefly glowed brilliant blue. I remember. His voice wasn't his own. Protocol Omega. Far beneath Memoria Central. Hidden doors unlocked for the first time in 15 years. Ancient servers hummed back to life. A synthetic voice echoed through the abandoned chamber. Primary Administrator, detected. Director Lucien Voss slowly closed his eyes. So, he really survived. None of the executives dared to speak. The apartment floor suddenly trembled. Hidden machinery activated beneath the building. Naira's expression changed instantly. No. He found the emergency vault. What vault? The floor cracked open beneath them. The ground collapsed completely. Kale and Naira plunged into darkness. The hunters rushed after them, only for massive steel blast doors to slam shut. One hunter struck the door repeatedly. We lost them. They landed hard on an old metal platform. Emergency lights flickered to life one after another. Before them stretched a forgotten underground city. Towering holographic letters illuminated the darkness. Project Eden, Kale whispered. Why does this place feel like home? Silence swallowed the underground city. Dust drifted through the stale air as thousands of empty apartments stretched into the darkness. Kale Eris slowly stepped forward. Why did this place feel like home? Naira Vale brushed her fingers across a rusted street sign. 20 years. Kale looked around. Nobody ever found this place? They weren't supposed to. Far above, emergency broadcasts flooded every screen. A news anchor struggled to stay composed. Authorities have confirmed an unauthorized breach beneath Sector 9. People in cafes, trains, and offices fell silent. One old man quietly stood up. Project Eden. His coffee slipped from his trembling hand. Inside a forgotten apartment deep within Project Eden, a television suddenly switched on by itself. Static filled the room. Then a little girl's voice echoed softly. Dad? Kale froze. His breathing became uneven. Naira immediately unplugged the television. The voice disappeared. You heard that too? She nodded. We have to leave. Kale didn't move. She called me Dad.
Hundreds of meters above them, Detective Mira Solon ignored direct orders and crossed the police barricade. An officer grabbed her arm. Detective, that's a restricted zone. Mira pulled free. Then arrest me later. Inside Memoria Central, Director Lucien Voss stood before a sealed vault. He placed his palm against the scanner. A hidden compartment opened. Inside rested a faded family photograph. For the first time, his expression cracked. He whispered so quietly that only the empty room could hear. I'm sorry. A young assistant entered cautiously. Sir? Lucien slid the photograph back into the vault. His face became emotionless once again. Prepare Protocol Black. Deep inside Project Eden, power slowly returned. Streetlights flickered on one after another. Old advertising screens flashed to life. Welcome home, residents. Kale stared at the message. I've seen this before. Without warning, security drones emerged from hidden compartments beneath the sidewalks. Their scanners swept across the street. One robotic voice announced, Resident identity verification in progress. Naira whispered, Don't let them scan you. Kale stepped backward. Too late. A blue beam scanned his face. The drones froze. Seconds later, every machine lowered its weapons. Welcome back, Administrator Kale Eris. Naira's eyes widened. A hidden elevator rose from beneath the road. Its doors opened slowly. Inside, warm lights still glowed. Fresh flowers rested on a table. Someone had been maintaining this place recently. Far away, in the deepest level of the underground city, a hooded figure watched dozens of security monitors. The person smiled faintly. So, you're finally home, KL. The transmission ended. Mira discovered an old maintenance tunnel leading underground. Her partner caught up, breathing heavily. You really think one man is worth all this? She looked into the darkness. I don't. I think whatever they're hiding is. The elevator doors closed behind KL and Naira. As it descended deeper, a child's laughter echoed softly through the speakers. Then a calm, computerized voice spoke. Memory restoration chamber preparing. KL's heartbeat quickened. I'm about to remember everything. The elevator came to a silent stop. Its doors opened onto a spotless white corridor, untouched by time. Soft piano music echoed through hidden speakers. A calm, artificial voice welcomed them. Administrator Kale Eris, welcome back to Eden Core. Rows of transparent memory crystals stretched endlessly along the walls. Each crystal contained a name. Some glowed brightly, others had gone completely dark. Kale brushed his fingers across one. The label read, Ella Eris. His heart skipped. The crystal suddenly projected a memory. A little girl with long black hair laughed as she ran through a garden. Dad, catch me. Kale reached toward the projection instinctively. It vanished before he could touch it. He whispered, Ella. Naira lowered her head. I wanted to tell you. Kale turned slowly. Tell me what? Tears formed in her crimson eyes. Ella was your daughter. The corridor fell silent. Far above, across every major city, the memory market began collapsing. Values plummeted by the second. News anchors shouted over one another. Citizens are withdrawing memories. This has never happened before. Panic spread like wildfire. Inside Memoria Central, executives shouted across the control room, We're losing reserves. The public is reclaiming memories. Director Lucien Voss remained perfectly still. They're remembering.
A hidden door opened at the end of the corridor. Beyond it stood a circular chamber. In its center, a crystalline throne connected to thousands of glowing cables. Kale's breathing became shallow. I built this. Naira nodded. You designed Project Eden to protect memories. She looked at the throne. Not sell them. Kale closed his eyes. Fragments finally aligned. They changed everything after the accident. Elsewhere, Detective Mira Solon entered the underground city through the maintenance tunnel. She stopped beside a faded mural. It showed families exchanging glowing memories freely. No prices, she whispered. So this is what they buried. Back inside Eden Core, the chamber lights dimmed. A hologram slowly materialized before Kale. It was himself, only older. Hello, Kale. If you're seeing this, then I failed. I erased my own memories because Lucien would never stop hunting them. The older Kale looked directly ahead. I hid the master memory inside the only place no one would ever search, my own mind. Suddenly, every alarm inside Eden Core activated. A computerized voice repeated urgently, unauthorized military entry detected. Naira spun toward the entrance. They're here. Massive blast doors exploded inward. Memory hunters poured into Eden Core. Behind them, Director Lucien Voss calmly walked through the smoke. So, you finally remembered. Kale stepped between Lucien and the throne. You turned people's lives into currency. Lucien's expression barely changed. I turned grief into survival. You built hope. I built a civilization. Neither man looked away. Lucien slowly raised one hand. Every hunter aimed their weapons. Then he spoke almost sadly. Kale, I never wanted to become your enemy. Kale answered without hesitation. You became everyone's. The chamber fell deathly silent. No one fired. The only sound was the low hum of the crystalline throne. Then Lucien slowly lowered his hand. Stand down. Even the hunters hesitated. Sir? I said, stand down. Lucien took one slow step forward. I owe you the truth. Kale never moved. 20 years ago, Ella was dying. Naira lowered her eyes. The room grew painfully quiet. Fragments of the past filled the chamber. Doctors rushed through a hospital. A little girl lay unconscious. Kale held her tiny hand. We'll save her. Lucien answered from the memory. We don't have enough. The memory dissolved into another. Kale stood before the Eden Core prototype. I'll connect every voluntary memory. Lucien stared at him. That won't be enough. Kale whispered, then I'll give mine too. Back in the present, Kale's breathing grew heavier. I remember. His knees nearly gave way. I created the system. Lucien nodded. But I corrupted it. Suddenly, every screen inside Eden Core turned black. A distorted laugh echoed through the chamber. Then the mysterious hooded figure appeared on every monitor. You've all been chasing the wrong enemy. Lucien's face lost its composure for the first time. You. The hood slowly came down. Dr. Elias Crow smiled. You finally remembered me. Kale's eyes widened. Elias. Detective Mira Solon quietly entered the chamber through a maintenance door. No one noticed. She watched the monitors. Dr. Crow? Her voice trembled. I thought you died. Elias laughed. Died? No. I simply stopped needing a body. Behind him, thousands of glowing memory cores pulsed together. I became memory itself. Across the city, people suddenly froze in place. Strangers began remembering lives that weren't theirs. One woman burst into tears. I've never had a son. She looked at the child in her memory. Why do I miss him? The city descended into chaos. Inside Eden Core, Elias spread his arms. The age of ownership is over. Everyone will remember everything. Lucien stepped forward. You'll destroy humanity. Elias smiled. They destroyed themselves. Kale looked at the crystalline throne. He finally understood. It isn't a throne. Naira followed his gaze. It's a transmitter. Kale nodded. If Elias activates it, every memory on Earth will merge. A countdown suddenly appeared above the throne. Global synchronization. 0959. Every person in the chamber looked up. No one spoke. The final race had begun. The countdown echoed through every district of the megacity. People looked toward the sky as enormous holographic numbers appeared above the skyline. Panic spread faster than any news report. What is global synchronization? Someone stop it. Inside Eden Core, Kale Eris walked toward the crystalline transmitter. Naira grabbed his wrist. If you connect to it, you might never come back. Kale smiled faintly. I already left once. The chamber shook violently. A deafening explosion tore through Eden Core's ceiling. Concrete and steel crashed downward. Memory hunters raised their shields. Detective Mira Solon shouted, Everybody move. Hidden beneath the rubble, a colossal machine slowly emerged. Its countless memory conduits pulsed like veins. Dr. Elias Crow stood atop the machine. You've been standing above my kingdom all along. Director Lucien Voss quietly removed his white executive coat. One hunter stared in disbelief. Sir? Lucien revealed an old combat harness beneath. I didn't become director by hiding. Lucien faced Kale. We finished this together. Kale hesitated. You lied to the world. Lucien answered quietly. I know, and I'll answer for it, if there's still a world left. The city descended deeper into madness. Complete strangers embraced each other. Others attacked people they suddenly remembered betraying decades ago. Children cried as parents forgot their own names. Every memory was beginning to leak. The holographic recording of his older self briefly returned. If you're here, then you know what must happen. Naira whispered, No. The hologram finished its final message. The master memory cannot be destroyed. It must have a guardian. And the guardian must surrender every personal memory forever. Kale closed his eyes. Everything became clear. Naira's composure finally shattered. She grabbed Kale's shoulders. You promised. You promised we'd find another way. Kale gently held her hands. I did. I just couldn't. Without warning, Dr. Elias Crow launched himself toward the transmitter. I won't let you erase perfection. Lucien sprinted forward. So be it. The two men collided. The impact echoed through Eden Core. Kale didn't turn around. He placed one trembling hand upon the crystalline transmitter. The countdown read 0059. The instant Kale Eris touched the crystalline transmitter, every memory on Earth paused. People stopped mid-step. Rain hung motionless in the air. Time itself seemed to hold its breath. He opened his eyes. He was no longer inside Eden Core. He stood in an endless white ocean beneath a sky of floating memories. A little girl ran toward him. Dad! Ella smiled exactly as he remembered. Ella hugged him tightly. I missed you. Kale's voice shook. I never stopped looking for you. She gently placed her small hand against his face. You don't have to anymore.
Back inside Eden Core, blue energy erupted through every cable. Director Lucien Voss forced Dr. Elias Crow away from the transmitter. "You've lost," Elias laughed. "No, we all have." The countdown reached 0. Silence. No explosion. No shockwave. Only a single pulse of light that spread across the entire planet, across every city. People slowly opened their eyes. Parents remembered lullabies they had sold years ago. Children recognized forgotten faces. Old friends embraced without understanding why they were crying. The memory market disappeared in an instant. Inside Eden Core, the crystalline transmitter fell silent. Naira Vale rushed toward Kale. He was still standing. His eyes slowly opened. They were empty. "Who are you?" Kale looked around the chamber like a stranger. The throne, the hunters, Naira, Lucien, none of them meant anything to him. He had kept his promise. Every personal memory was gone. Director Lucien Voss slowly removed his identification badge. He handed it to Detective Mira Solon. "I'll confess to everything." Mira accepted it silently. Justice could finally begin. Days later, the memory exchange towers were dismantled across the world. People shared memories only by choice once again. Schools began teaching children the history that had been erased. Humanity started over. One afternoon, Naira found Kale sitting beside a quiet lake outside the rebuilt city. He smiled politely as she approached. "Have we met before?" She swallowed her tears. "No, not yet." As Naira turned to leave, Kale suddenly frowned. A tiny fragment surfaced, a child's laughter, a silver-haired woman smiling. One word escaped his lips. "Naira?" She froze. Naira slowly turned around. Hope flickered across her face. "What did you say?" Kale hesitated. He couldn't remember why. It just felt familiar. She smiled through her tears. "Maybe." "That's enough." High above Earth, the last active memory satellite quietly powered down. Its final transmission echoed into space. Project Eden, complete. The stars reflected across its darkened surface. Months later, the world no longer measured wealth by memories. People protected them instead. On the shore of the same quiet lake, Kale Eris watched children laughing as they chased each other through the grass. Among them was a little girl with long black hair. For a brief moment, she looked back and smiled exactly like Ella. A warm breeze carried distant laughter across the water. Kale smiled without knowing why. Far beneath the rebuilt city, inside the abandoned Eden Core, one tiny blue light blinked once, then faded, leaving only silence. The end.